War of the Realms number 6 was published yesterday with the final chapter of this 6 issues run, which featured Malekith, the king of the Dark Elves, in his war on Earth, and how the heroes joined forces to defeat his hordes. The incredible cover is penciled by Arthur Adams, featuring many Thors, including Thor Odinson, Jane Foster Thor, King Thor, and Young Thor. The book opens where we last left Thor pinned to the walled tree Yggdrasil. He sacrifices his left eye to the tree for the knowledge to defeat Malekith. But it's not enough. He begs the tree not to take the last shard of Mjolnir, but reluctantly allows the tree's flames to claim it. In return, Yggdrasil grants him a way to stop Malekith. It's to find more Thors. Billions of years in the future, Thor's granddaughters are reading these events from a book. They now know how their grandfather lost his eye. Frigg says that Thor's friends traveled through time to the distant future in order to retrieve an old ally. As soon as she finishes reading this, a time portal opens and Reed Richards and the Thing step through. Before they attack the intruders, All-Father Thor greets them and says he's been waiting for this day for millennia. In the present, Thor Odinson, Young Thor, and All-Father Thor stand in the ruins of Asgard. Thor explains the situation with Malekith to his past and future selves, saying they need more Thors to defeat him. Young Thor boasts that he is ready for battle, but All-Father Thor laments the return of his youngest self. Thor reminds his past and future selves that they did great things working together. Jane Foster agrees, revealing she has regained her Thor powers by claiming Ultimate Mjolnir, though it is trying to tear itself apart again. The Thor Corps set out to take down Malekith, while on Earth the heroes continue to fight Malekith forces. In New York, confronting Laufey, the Frost Giants King, alongside Black Panther, Lady Sif, and the Thing, Captain America tells Laufey to surrender as his allies have been defeated. Sneering that he never had any allies, Laufey pulls out the casket of ancient winters and eats it. His powers were incredibly augmented. He blows cold air that freezes the heroes. Armored with Heimdall's sword, Daredevil attacks Laufey in the name of Hell's Kitchen. At Stonehenge, Malekith hears the Thor Corps approaching and augments his acolytes with the Venom symbiote, bonding it in an emulation of Null and Gore. The Thor Corps arrives and attacks Malekith, who manifests wings of living abyss, declaring himself to be the butcher of Thors, telling his acolytes to kill Odin and Freya. Meanwhile, Daredevil throws the sword, rebounding the sword off walls of ice, but Laufey catches the blade with his teeth and eats it. As Laufey attacks again, Ivory Honeyshot, the light elf, senses a glimmer of hope. In space, the god Tempest manifests and wreathes the sun in divine lightning, imbuing itself with stellar plasma. At Stonehenge, Thor engages Malekith. Snaring Thor's hammer, Malekith coats it in living abyss and turns it to black hammer. Thor wanted to say that it was the last hammer in Asgard. As Malekith attacked to finish him, Jane Foster Thor intercepted his attack with Ultimate Mjolnir, Malekith retaliating by trying to impale her. Thor taps into the Berserker rage and throws himself at Malekith. Young Thor and All-Father Thor sensing the approaching of God Tempest. Malekith knocks Thors away and says that 1,000 Thors will not be enough to stop him. Meanwhile, Sif and Captain America defend Daredevil, who whispers for Thor to wield the Storm of Storms. Catching Malekith's hammer, Thor says that all he needs to finish the Dark Elf is a good hard rain. As the god Tempest reaches Earth, it begins to rain ice and fire. Thor reminds Malekith that symbiotes are weak to fire. As his acolytes start to burn, Malekith watches in horror as the god Tempest is manifested into a restored Mjolnir. As Malekith says that Thor is not worthy, Thor replies that the struggle to become worthy is what counts, and declares himself the god of the unworthy, lifting the reforged Mjolnir. With one single blow, Thor separates Malekith from the Venom symbiote. Jane Foster Thor says that the hammer does not make the Thor, but the Thor makes the hammer. Noticing that the ultimate Mjolnir is about to self-destruct, Thor says she knows how to use it before it gets destroyed. As Laufey declares the dawn of the new age of giants, Ultimate Mjolnir smashes into his head and rips out one of his eyes. As Laufey demands to know who did that, a gash opens in his body, and Loki comes out of his father's stomach using Heimdall's sword and the casket of the ancient winters, holding his dismembered and half-digested body together with magic. Young Thor cuts Malekith's arm, while Thor urges him to surrender, telling him that the War of the Realms is over, but Malekith states that the war can never end, or everything he has lost will have been for nothing. Malekith commands his wild hunt to tear the Thors apart, but his fear has broken his control over them. Shouting that he has no fear, Malekith repeats his command, but the winged tiger and the hounds rip him apart. On Earth, the heroes celebrate the end of the war. Punisher leaves to resume his one-man war on crime, and Daredevil loses his divine powers. Venom returns to its humanoid form, noting that Malekith magic helped fixing its mental instability, and that it has to prepare for the coming of Carnage. Ultimate Mjolnir crumbles as Jane Foster bids it farewell, but as she returns to her human form, the shards of the hammer merge into a golden armor that covers her arm. As peace returns to the Ten Realms, the book ends with Odin kneeling down and expressing pride in his son. He steps down as King of Asgard, bestowing the title of All-Father upon Thor, who became All-Father Thor, the King of Asgard. Written by Jason Aaron and Al Ewing, Marvel reveals that a new run starring Jane Foster as the new Valkyrie will be out next month. I really enjoyed this run, and I think that the conclusion was no less than epic, witnessing the return of the worthy Thor who became the new King of Asgard. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.